Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Jaron Ennis is gone from 147, people. The titles are being dropped. He's moving up to 154. And he could be fighting Oritz or Murtazaliev next. Interesting, right? So when you take a look at this right here. This is 147. We all know Boots was the man. Everyone had picked Jaron Boots Ennis to beat everybody at 147. The goal was for him to become undisputed, but he was able to unify. So he got halfway there. But when you look at the rankings, right, or at least the champions, Boots was the IBF and WBA champion. Now those are going to be vacated. So what you're going to see happening is Rolly Romero for the WBA, he could be elevated to the WBA Super World Welterweight champion. But the thing is, Rolly could be fighting the winner of Pacquiao Barrios. Now, Barrios is a WBC champion, so he got some stuff going on. But for the IBF, you got the guy Crocker, who's the mandatory to Boots, but Boots is gone. So Crocker and Patty Donovan are going to be fighting. So the winner of that will probably become the IBF champion because they're fighting for the vacant title. And then you can see Devin Haney. He's going to be floating around and could possibly line up to get the winner of the Crocker-Donovan fight so that Devin Haney can go on and become an IBF champion, because remember, Devin Haney works well with Eddie Hearn, even though they've been a little back and forth in the past. They work well together. So that may be the route that Devin Haney goes, because although Devin Haney's ranked number 1 by the WBC, I don't see Turki Al-Sheikh or the sanctioning bodies wanting to see Devin Haney get in the ring with the winner of Pacquiao Barrios. I think everybody, especially with Turki Al-Sheikh, his presence in boxing and his influence, because we all know when Turki's in the house, every day's Thanksgiving. I just truly believe Turki's going to be like, you know what? As far as that fight card in New York, whether Pacquiao Barrios wins, I don't want Devin Haney fighting. I don't want to see him. He'll get involved and probably try to put that fight on the Riyadh, especially if Pacquiao wins, on a Riyadh season card, and have Rolly go and fight Pacquiao. Because one thing for sure is Rolly's going to fight. He may move around a little bit, but Rolly's going to let his hands go. He's looking to knock you out. That's what Rolly wants. And Rolly has improved as a fighter. I still like the reckless, brawling Rolly, but he kept that right hand glued to his chin the whole night, and that's why Ryan wasn't able to hurt him with the left hook. But that being said, when you take a look at this, it's really going to open things up. The 147-pound division has got really fun with Ryan Garcia being there, Teal being there, and Devin Haney, in addition to the other fighters. But what really makes this interesting, the 147-pound division, is knowing that Jaron Boots Ennis and Devin Haney were going to fight at 147. It's just the decision was already made for Jaron Boots Ennis to go to 154. Teofimo Lopez and Jaron Boots Ennis was another fight very close to being made, but Jaron Boots Ennis had already chosen to go to 154. So with Jaron Boots Ennis, he really wanted to stay at 147, but his weight cut, they haven't really gone public with it as far as giving us visuals, but his weight cut, they said, was very unhealthy, and it created a life-threatening situation for him. Now, you take that how you want. This is Eddie Hearn talking. And we know Eddie Hearn is known for a bit of hyperbole and shit, but for the most part, Eddie Hearn, there's a lot of truth to what he says, a little bit of exaggeration, but I do believe him when he says the doctors talked to Jaron Ennis, and they said, hey, you can't continue fighting at 147, cutting weight like this, because obviously it's not good for him. He's probably one of those guys, if we've seen what he puts himself through to get to 147, we'd all probably be screaming for him to go to 154. But that being said, his weight cut for Chikazian was horrible. It was a bad weight cut, and that can explain a little bit of his performance. His weight cut for, what's his name? He just beat him. Stan Eunice. That was a rough one, but it was a better weight cut than for Chikazian. And you saw what he did to Stan Eunice. So the belief is for Jaron Boots Ennis going to 154, he's going to be fully charged, fully healthy, and we're going to see him at his best and dominate the 154-pound division, dominate 160, and possibly go up to 168 at some point in time. Now, to all of that, I say hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid and get carried away. But I do think at 144, things get a little interesting. Now, Eddie Hearn mentioned that Jaron Ennis will be back at the end of this year, probably fighting for a title. Now, when he said that, you know what I mean? The spidey senses started tingling and shit. And I said, whoa, what do you mean Jaron Ennis is going to 154 and could be fighting for a title? So, of course, I said, okay, well, who at 154 could he be fighting? I took a look. Fundora is fighting Zoo, right? They're fighting in a phone booth because they're fighting in that 18 by 18 ring, so anybody can win. But for the WBC, Fundora has the title. So Tim Tszyu, if he beats Fundora, to beat Tim Tszyu as the champion. But Virgil Ortiz is the WBC interim world superweight champion. Eddie Hearn said that's a fight that can be made right now. Have a good working relationship with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy. That fight can happen by the end of the year. So I said, okay, that's what they're going to do. Have Jaron Ennis go up, maybe fight Virgil Ortiz. That kind of makes sense. But then I said, well, hell, there's Bakram Murtazaliev. Nothing at all going on with Bakram Murtazaliev. So and Bakram Murtazaliev just posted something on Twitter saying that he's going to, matter of fact, let me see. I'll show you what he posted because I was like, oh, there's something going on here with Bakram. I just clicked off that. Let me come back over here while I'm pulling it up for you. So I said, oh, Bakram's back in September. I'm like, he's probably going to be on that Crawford Canelo undercard. I'm about to pull this up for you. But I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I was like, that would make sense for have Jaron Ennis fight at 154 and to fight on that undercard. You know what I'm saying? And that to me, that makes plenty of sense. I'm scrolling through my profile to see where that is because I know I reposted it yesterday because I was shocked to see that. While I'm talking to you, I'm scrolling down to see where it is. If not, I'll just go to his page and pull it up. Because Murtazaliev, let me just go and put in Murtazaliev. There it is right there. Bakram Murtazaliev. Let me go down. Okay, right here. Check this out. Look right here. Bakram Murtazaliev says September 13th, and he's got those big googly eyes underneath there. So if Jaron Ennis is returning end of this year sometime, could be September. And Murtazaliev is saying, I'm back. Looks like what now I'm reading into it now. Looks like he's saying he's back September 13th. And Eddie Hearn saying Jaron will be returning for a title shot. That could mean that Jaron Ennis is going to be returning to the ring at 154 in his first fight. Go straight into a scrap with a champion like Murtazaliev. But I'll tell you what, that a Murtazaliev fight, you know, I'm going to tell you, if Jaron Ennis goes up to 154 and beats Murtazaliev, I think Jaron may beat everybody at 154, man. Because Murtazaliev, I understand people saying, man, he's hood, you know, what has he done? Who has he fought? I'll put it to you this way. Who's calling him out? Nobody calling out 23-0 Murtazaliev, and there's a reason for that. But Crawford's fighting Canelo, so the WBO belt is, you know, the WBO World Junior Middleweight Championship is already vacant. Crawford's the interim. And Crawford has the WBA Super Welterweight crown, but he's going to drop both of those. They should already be dropped, but it'll probably be when he actually steps in the ring with Canelo, then those will go vacant. And, you know, the WBO will be wide open. The WBA, you got Jonas Tejas, who's the WBA interim world. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of opportunities at 154. So for Jaron Ennis and his dad and what he plans on doing next, I just think the sky's the limit. But out of everyone to go fight, I guess he's got to do it. I mean, if you're saying you can beat Crawford, you want the Crawford fight, and Crawford went up to 154 in his first fight, fought Madrimov, who's supposed to be the boogeyman. I mean, shit. Jaron Ennis might as well go up and take on, you know, the next in line boogeyman, Murtazaliev. If not Murtazaliev, Virgil Ortiz. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz is a good fight. That's a good fight. Because one thing about Virgil Ortiz, man, look, I have my concerns about him and rhabdomyolysis. He's pushed beyond that. He's proved when he fought Madrimov that he's back. So no excuses if he loses. I'm not doubting him anymore. I mean, when he was at 147, I thought he was a beast. But now he seems to be healthy, and I think that's a tough fight for Jaron Ennis. Virgil Ortiz is going to fight. Like, you got to shoot him. You got to kill him. He's going to fight. And I think that makes for a very good fight. But it's going to be interesting because Boots should be healthy, firing on all cylinders. We'll see how good that chin is because, Virgil's going to land. But we're also going to see just how durable Virgil is with a big, strong bull like Jaron Ennis, who's supposed to be the next big thing in boxing. Anyway, the other thing I think is interesting, if Turki Al-Sheikh can, he can influence the key decision makers in boxing to go ahead and make the 18 by 18 foot ring standard. Right now it's 20 by 20. But, that's a whole nother video I'm about to give y'all. I'm going to wait and do that one. But let's wait and see, because I'm telling you, if that 18 by 18 becomes the norm, a lot of these matches are going to be really interesting, and it's going to be hard to predict a fight. No matter how much analysis you have and you can provide, and how much data mining you've done, it's going to be hard to predict a fight when you got a guy who's a superior boxer who's having to fight in a smaller ring. Anyway, that being said, Jaron Ennis, he was going to fight Devin Haney and Teal, but they decided to move up. Jaron decided to move up. Now he's going to 154. First fight should be a title fight. That's either Virgil Ortiz or Murtazaliev, in my opinion. And he no longer has to kill himself to make 147. So we'll see how it all comes together. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Y'all in the breeze.